Coming up on the Q30 Newscast, find out more about the Roe v. Wade demonstrations that happened earlier today.
Quinnipiac announced a new initiative that will diversify the faculty on campus. Find out what the university is planning for the next 3 years.
And learn more about the efforts that went into making Quinnipiac an age-friendly campus.
All this and more coming up on the Q30 Newscast. Good evening and welcome to tonight's newscast. I'm Hepzibah Rajan.
And I'm Hannah Mirsky. I'm excited to be back for the last show of the year. After Justice Samuel Alito's draft opinion was released Tuesday showing a possibility that the 1973 decision could be reputed, student, faculty, and staff demonstrated around campus to show their opposition. I followed the story throughout the day and have the report.
Pro-life, that's a lie. You don't care if women die.
Chants in opposition to overturn Roe v. Wade could be heard across Mount Carmel early Wednesday morning. Students, faculty, and staff marched together across the quad and encouraging others to use their voice as papers obtained by Politica reveal a jarring reality to women's rights on abortion.
And that's something that, as you can see, many of us don't approve of.
In the opinion, Justice Samuel Alito says it is time to heed the Constitution and return the issue of abortion to the people's elected representation. Student Genesis Paulino says the time is now to speak up.
I think whether we're successful or not, we gave it our absolute all, and I think that's, at the end of the day, what matters more than sitting around and waiting for people to just make the right decisions for other people.
If the decision changes, it will disproportionately affect women who have varying access to health care.
Women who have greater access to economic resources will always be able to get abortions, and it will still happen regardless. But for women who are poor, women who do not have access to these particular things, more women will die.
While the decision would be left up to states to decide to keep abortions legalized, the students at the demonstration wanted to highlight that abortions will continue to happen, but at a greater risk.
It's just making them less safe and giving women less of a choice.
While people across the country are protesting, Paulino says it's important for college students to do the same in their community.
And so it's important for young people to be in the mix because it is our future, it is our present.
While the draft would end the almost 50-year federal constitutional protection of abortion rights, the decision won't be finalized for another possible 2 months when it's published. Reporting from the Mount Carmel campus, Hannah Mirsky, Q30 News.
In an email to students early Tuesday morning, Quinnipiac announced a faculty hiring initiative. The university will add 34 new full-time faculty and 10 academic support staff within the next 3 years. The new roles will include tenure track, teaching, and clinical positions. This new investment is intended to diversify faculty and academic staff. Quinnipiac Provost Deborah Leibowitz feels that this expansion in faculty numbers will promote innovation and academic excellence.
If you want a faculty or staff that reflects our student population, then you need, and the diversity of the world in which we live, then you need to make sure that your candidate pools bring a wide range of expertise, lived experiences, and identities.
Quinnipiac recently released a website for the university's mission focused on age inclusivity. Quinnipiac is now a member of the Age-Friendly University Global Network among 51 other universities. Katie Cohen sat down with professors and co-chairs of the steering committee to learn more about what this means for the university.
Students of all ages have been welcomed to Quinnipiac University, and now they are taking initiatives to continue making an education open to all. They are prioritizing making the university age-friendly and inclusive. But what makes a university age-friendly? One focus of the Age-Friendly Steering Committee is expanding the curriculum.
We're working on expanding our curriculum to focus more on age inclusivity and make more opportunities for sort of intergenerational connections.
They also are focusing on students recognizing ageism, which is the prejudice or discrimination against people based on their age. Quinnipiac University was the second age-friendly university in Connecticut when they got officially recognized in 2020. Now, Their goal at Quinnipiac is to spread their message across the university to students and
And
staff.
we're trying to collaborate with other university groups. We want to involve more students, clubs, student government organizations. Right now, I think most students aren't even aware that we are an age-friendly university. So
Students can help this cause by keeping ageism in mind when communicating with others.
Consider ageism against someone of any age as one of the isms that comes to mind when we're thinking of diversity, equity, and inclusion. And those are such needed and, hot topics right now, that ageism should be considered when we're thinking of all of the potential injustices that may exist out there.
Reporting for Q30 News, I'm Katie Cohen.
High school students near Quinnipiac looking to pursue a career in education will have a new opportunity through the Ed Rising program. High schools in New Haven, Meriden, Hamden, and Estonia may have clubs or a class for Ed Rising where students can partner with the university to take up to 3 free prep courses. The courses that can be taken are Introduction to Public Education, Diversity, Dispositions, and Multiculturalism, and Social and Philosophical Foundations. Tim Malone spoke to Judy Puglisi, an adjunct professor and the Community Outreach Coordinator for School of Education, to learn more about the program.
So what's kind of exciting is a student in high school can take these classes at Quinnipiac and actually sit in classrooms with other college students. We also have asynchronous online sections, and we have something called a peer catalyst in the class. And that's an undergrad student who acts as like a peer mentor to our high school students.
A new space for students and faculty to collaborate on projects and ideas opened on Friday. Tim Malone went to the Innovation Hub's opening day for the story.
Quinnipiac just opened an Innovation Hub in the School of Business last Friday. The Business Innovation Hub joins the already in-service Engineering Hub in an ongoing initiative to create spaces designed for students to meet in a shared environment to work on new projects. Professor of Entrepreneurship and Strategy and Director of the People's United Center for Innovation and Entrepreneurship, Patrice Luoma, spoke about this initiative for communal spaces.
We started the Innovation Hub planning in May of last year, and we've been working on it, and it finally finished this probably a few weeks ago is when all the furniture got put in.
Some of the renovations to the space include the addition of lockers so students can store their work if they have a physical product they're workshopping, as well as a conference room for students to meet with each other and faculty for assistance.
Students should come and take advantage of using the space. So if students have ideas and they want to work on innovative projects or they want to seek help, I'm happy to meet with students. They can contact me. I can put them in touch with other students, and we can utilize the space in the best way possible.
You can find this new Innovation Hub right here in room 109 in the Lender School of Business. Now, the school is possibly planning on adding more innovative hubs to other schools in the future. And although the space is in the School of Business, students of other majors are more than welcome to use it.
So we want to see other students besides business students here. We want to see any student here. I want to see the space full and full of noise at all times, but it's open to everyone.
For Q30 News, I'm Tim Malone.
Now let's take a look at the current COVID-19 numbers across campus. There are 20 active cases of COVID-19 with 27 cases in the last 7 days, which is an increase from last week's 8 cases. Numbers on campus have continued to remain relatively low, even with the cases in Connecticut rising. Most towns across the state are currently in the red stage, with more than 15 cases per 100,000 residents.
The lineup of commencement speakers for the graduating class of 2023 have been announced. The speakers include Connecticut's Chief Manufacturing Officer, Paul Lavoie, Hartford Healthcare's President, Jeff Flax, author Crystal Maldonado, Yale Professor of Medicine, Dr. August Fortin, and Yale Senior Research Scholar in Law, Emily Bazelon. 5 commencement ceremonies will be held between May 14th and 16th on the Mount Carmel campus quad and will run for 2 to 2.5 hours each. The university celebrated Bobcat Unite Giving Campaign on May 2nd. The 24-hour day of giving saw $34,048 raised by 402 donors for different initiatives on campus. Participants could choose from an extensive list of student interest groups such as student media, diversity clubs, and club sports.
The School of Nursing is sponsoring a donation drive for Ukrainian relief. As the war between Russia and Ukraine continues and Ukrainians are losing their homes in Russian airstrikes, students are asking for donations for bandages, non-sterile gloves, tweezers, gauze pads, and other items that can provide medical assistance. 3 collection boxes will be located on North Haven near the parking garage entrance and front MNH entrance, as well as CCE 103 on the Mount Carmel campus. After the break, hear about how the Office of Community Service is raising money for local charities and the latest on an investigation being carried out by the Federal Aviation Administration.
But before we go, Ethan Logue joins us with local weather for the upcoming days. Ethan?
Thanks, Hepzibah. And as you guys saw today, it was actually a pretty comfortable day. Some slight showers in the morning, but overall, not too much to complain about. And as you can see, tomorrow's actually might be the best day of the week. It'll be probably the only time that we see 70 degrees with a high of 72 and a low of 49 with the sun just peeking through. Friday, unfortunately, will be a little different story. A little cloudy, high of 55 and a low of 41. Now I'll have your full 7-day forecast and temperatures across the state of Connecticut following this commercial break.
What do you think you're doing, Kevin? Was just gonna drive home.
There are several warning signs present that you shouldn't be driving.
Like hearing voices?
Like your text-to-emoji ratio?
Oh man, the selfies. Selfie, nailed it.
We all have warning signs that let us know that we're probably not okay to drive. Mine is pretending to be your subconscious.
Craig, come on man, let's split a ride home.
If you need to do something to feel okay to drive, you're not okay to drive. Don't drive buzzed.
Multiple studies have shown that marijuana can slow both driver reaction and response time, which can be really dangerous. He's here. He's here. Wait. What? I can't drive. Why? My. Oh.
Thank you for sticking with us. Asian American and Pacific Islander Month is celebrated throughout the month of May to look further into people who came to America from Asia and the Pacific Islands like Melanesia, Micronesia, and Polynesia. In 1977, Representative Frank Horton introduced legislation to create Pacific Asian American Heritage Week. President Jimmy Carter signed the bill into law in October of 1978. Congress later passed legislation to make it a month-long celebration in 1990.
Tap Out Hunger is an annual meal point drive that runs through the month of April. The initiative allows students to donate up to 200 meal points when cashing out at the dining hall. This year, around 25,000 meal points were donated. Olivia Quero has more.
The Office of Community Service hosted the second annual Tap Out Hunger Meal Point Drive to benefit causes in the local community. The drive ran from April 1st through April 30th, and its mission was to combat food insecurity in the local community. The drive will support 2 local charities, the Hamden Food Bank and the Columbus House.
It was the first time that we had a program like that at Quinnipiac, so we were very excited to be able to offer the opportunity for students to utilize some of their unused meal points.
In the program's first year, more than 75,000 points were donated. This year, just about 25,000 points were donated to benefit the cause.
Food plays an important part in meeting the needs of our community partners and in their efforts to combat food insecurity in the immediate area.
Tap Out Hunger worked with Chartwells to allow students to donate points when cashing out in the dining halls and to organize the food delivery.
Chartwells is our partner that will place the food orders based upon what the needs are of the community partners, and then make sure that it's delivered to them.
These donations help local charities by allowing funds that would typically be devoted to food purchases to be redirected elsewhere.
The food that we provide to, Columbus House or to the Hamden Food Bank. So Columbus House, they run on a budget and they have so much money that they can devote towards food purchases every year. And so this program really, really helps them in a huge way.
The initiative ensures that students' excess meal points do not go to waste and instead give back to the local community. For Q30 News, I'm Olivia Cattell.
Now moving to stories across the country, Manny Galicki is in studio to speak on national news.
Manny?
Thanks, Hepzibah and Hannah. The Federal Aviation Administration is investigating after a plane went down in Mantaco, Minnesota on Tuesday evening. The pilot was flying by himself and was attempting to make a routine landing and fell completely off course. The pilot of the plane sustained significant injuries, but further information is not available. Authorities are investigating the cause of the crash, and in the meantime, the Mantaco airport will remain closed. The U.S. is experiencing a great resignation period where a record high number of Americans are quitting their jobs. People are leaving their careers they have established for themselves and are looking for something bigger and new during the pandemic. During the height of the pandemic, 1 in 5 people quit their jobs due to lack of benefits and poor workplace conditions, and now there are currently 11.5 million job openings, the highest ever in recorded history. Experts believe that as the pandemic restrictions loosen, people will soon begin finding their way back to work. And the FDA is placing a ban on all menthol cigarettes and flavored cigars in the United States. This decision is being called the most harsh restriction made on tobacco products in recent history and will impact nearly 20 million cigarette users. This ban is being put in place to prevent young people from becoming addicted to e-cigarettes and could save over 500,000 lives. Menthol cigarette sales reached a nearly $30 million peak over the past year. And that is all I have time for tonight for national news. Back to you guys at the desk.
It's time for another commercial break. On the other side, Matthew Juroncic will join us from the latest from Capitol Hill.
Including some local politics in Connecticut, you won't want to miss it.
When we adopt a shelter pet, we discover they're a unique mix of all kinds of things.
Come on, Jules, spot on this last one. There it is.
Keep going with it. Leo! They're a little bit of a lot of things, but they're all pure love.
Hannah, personally, as someone who dislikes rain, today looked ugly to me.
Yeah, I think I brought it back up from DC. Well, Ethan is here again in the studio with more on the weather for the rest of the week.
I don't really know what you guys are talking about. It wasn't that bad today, all right, as I mentioned earlier. Weather today, a little rainy, like Hepzibah and Hannah just mentioned, but overall, nothing really to complain about. So let's take a look at the weather across Connecticut, and as you can see, spring is in full swing. I hope you like that rhyme right there. 56 in New London, 57 in New Haven, 60 in Danbury, that's the highest in the state right now, 56 in Torrington, 58 in Hartford and Norwich. Now let's transition over to that 7-day forecast. I'll step off my screen right here. Today, like I mentioned, high of 61, pretty cloudy with a low of 50. Tomorrow is probably going to be the nicest day we see for a while, a high of 72 and a low of 49. Friday, the clouds will roll back in. We won't see much sun during the weekend. High of 63, low of 49. Raining on Saturday. Hannah and Hepzibah, I'm sorry. Got to look forward to that. Unfortunately, high of 55 with a low of 41. Sunday, the sun will come back out for a little while. High of 62, low of 40. Monday will be a pretty nice day. High of 67 with a low of 43. And Tuesday, not too bad either. High of 71, low of 48. So with finals week coming up, make sure to try and get outside. Mental health is obviously a very important issue this time of the year. So that's all I have. That's the latest in the weather across the state. And looking ahead, Hannah, Hepzibah, back to you guys.
Thank you, Ethan. The Connecticut Clean Air Act looks to end up on the Governor Lamont's desk very soon. The Connecticut House gave final approval to the bill on Friday after passing the state Senate earlier in the week. If the bill is signed by Lamont, who expresses his content in signing the bill soon, the state's electric vehicle rebate program will be expanded, with electric bikes included. The bill looks to reduce transportation pollution through strict emission standards on trucks and increase the use of electric buses. State vehicles will be required to be 100% electric by 2030, making Connecticut adopt California emissions standards for medium and heavy-duty trucks.
Matthew Juroncic is now joining us with more on what's happening on Capitol Hill.
What do you have for us for this week, Matt?
Thanks, Hannah Hepspot. We have a lot of stories to dive into, so let's not waste any more time. Politico obtained a published draft of an opinion Monday night written by Justice Samuel Alito that would reverse Roe v. Wade. The case was opened on January 22, 1973, after the Supreme Court rejected a Texas bill banning abortions. This historic decision allowed females the freedom to have an abortion under the 14th Amendment. In a statement from Chief Justice John Roberts, he said that the Supreme Court will investigate this, calling it a, quote, a single and egregious breach of trust, end quote. Should this decision be overturned, this would allow states to reduce or even ban abortions. The final opinion has not been released yet and is not expected to be published until late June. Sticking with the judicial system, District Court Judge Caroline Wall allowed the Tulsa Race Massacre lawsuit to move forward. Filed in March of 2021, the lawsuit looks to not only clear up what took place between May 31st and June 1st, 1921, but to also create a Tulsa Massacre Victims Compensation Fund that will allow for mental health and educational programs. The lawsuit is currently in a race against time, as the three plaintiffs, Leslie Benningfield, Randall Hughes Van Ellis, and Viola Ford Fletcher, are all over the age of 100. While this was ruled to proceed, Michael Schwartz, one of the attorneys for the plaintiffs, is unsure what will happen next. Turning to the ongoing Ukraine crisis, Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer said in order for the Ukraine additional aid, there will be provisions on how to secure and sell Russian assets. Schumer's remarks come after President Biden announced last week he wants $33 million sent to the country for additional security, economic, and humanitarian assistance. Furthermore, the Biden administration is also requesting Congress to pass new legislation towards the president's plan on using these seized funds. Both the White House and House Speaker Nancy Pelosi are in support of this despite GOP pushback due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Unfortunately, that is all I have for you today, but before I send it back to the desk, I want to thank my friends, my family, and my colleagues, as this will be my final newscast. I've learned so much from everyone within the organization, and for that, I cannot express how grateful I am for this final time. Ladies, back to you at the desk.
Thank you, Matt. When we come back, find out who won at the Boomies Awards as Ben gives us our sports report.
We'll be right back, so stay with us.
I know what you're thinking. I need a job. I need a new career.
Well, I've been there.
I've been there.
I've been there. I wasn't happy with what I was doing. After high school, I didn't have a plan.
I just wanted to start working. I got laid off twice, but you gotta keep going.
You just need the right skills. Find an apprenticeship.
I found a 2-year IT program.
I found a medical course online.
I'm now a consultant in the tech space.
You have more options than you think. You can do this. You will find something.
You will find something new.
Maybe you can make retirement happen. After all, you made home ownership happen. Homeschooling yourself on loans, beefing up your credit score.
So I'm pre-approved.
You were like, yes! Sorry. Color coding listings, ticking boxes, and flushing every toilet in a 20-mile radius. Home sweet home. You aced house hunting. Now get the tips you need to get on track at aceyourretirement.org.
Meet the Scan, a simple procedure whose mission is to detect lung cancer early.
I'm here to save you.
But I feel fine.
That's great, but you may still be at high risk for lung cancer.
Oh man, that's a new fence.
If you smoke, early detection could save your life. Learn more at savedbythescan.org.
Ben Kane is in the studio with the latest on the acrobatic and tumbling team's recent trip to the NCATA National Championships.
And more on the Boomies that took place on Sunday night. Take it away, Ben.
Thanks, guys. Let's flip right into this weekend's World of Sports. The acrobatics and tumbling team traveled down to Oregon for the NCAA National Championships over the weekend. The number 4 Bobcats took on the number 5 Oregon Ducks in a rematch of the Bobcats' final home matchup of the season. Quinnipiac came out flying in this matchup with the scores pretty close to the beginning. The Bobcats were able to pull ahead in an event they almost always struggle with, the pyramid event. The Bobcats gained more than 3 points on the Ducks in this event and held onto this lead to beat the Ducks by almost 6 points. Although they did lose in the next round to the number 1 seed Baylor, it has been an incredible season for a team that had not competed in over 700 days, and definitely one to remember. The Boomies were on Sunday night, which honored athletes and teams across campus for their incredible achievements this season. Starting off with Moment of the Year, and it has to be the women's ice hockey team's first NCAA tournament victory over Syracuse. The Bobcats showed no signs of inexperience winning at this level, as they dispatched the Orange by a score of 4-0. Goals from Peart, Agia, House, and Shriver were enough to send the Bobcats into the next round against Ohio State. For the men's Student Athlete of the Year, Zach Metza was given the honor. The senior assistant captain was a brick wall in defense all season and was also able to find his scoring states as well this year. He contributed 10 goals and 27 assists, leaving him with a career and season high 37 points. For the Female Athlete of the Year, Mackenzie DeWeese takes home the honors. DeWeese had an incredible season for the Bobcats, scoring her 1,000th career point against St. Peter's as well. And she also carried their team to the MAC semifinals, averaging 14 points and 7 rebounds. That's all I have for sports. Back to you guys on the desk.
Thank you, Ben. A Cheshire restaurateur was recently named the Small Business Person of the Year. Viron Rondez, proprietor of Viron Rondo Osterio, was recognized for his work during the pandemic. Rondo's pivoted to takeouts to keep his restaurant alive. His commitment to the community and his employees also helped set him apart from other competitors.
Amidst the pandemic, Rondo's continued to help out by delivering food to hospitals and donating $500 a month to Cheshire Food Pantry. Rondo's will compete with other winners for National Small Business Person of the Year.
That wraps up tonight's newscast, but before we let you go, there are a couple of people I need to thank, those who helped me become Q30's web director and complete almost 3 years as an associate producer for Newscast. When I joined this club as a first-year software engineering student, I did not realize I would keep coming back every Wednesday to make packages and report on breaking news around campus and Hamden. From standing in the rain to cover the Great Irish Hunger Museum to live streaming Qthon for more than 12 hours, I could not have done this if it were not for all my mentors in this club. Thank you. Above all, I'm grateful that I got to do it all with my best friend, Hannah Mirsky. It's been a pleasure and an honor to work alongside you. Your work for this organization and department will be remembered and cherished. Thank you for carrying me through the toughest days and giving me some of the best college memories. And to Q30 News, I'm happy I was a part of the story. Thank you for the opportunities, thank you for the experience, and thank you to my producers in crime who are behind the scenes now for all your hard work and effort every week. Vanessa, Katie, Olivia, I wish you the best, and I'm excited to see all of you continue to build this department.
This past semester, I studied in Washington, D.C., where I completed 2 internships and still acted as the news director. Throughout these past months, I grew as a journalist and realized how strong my passion is for reporting the news and serving the public in any way possible. Walking into the media suite my freshman year with Hepzibah, I had never believed I would be able to be in a position to mentor and inspire others to love every aspect of broadcast news in the way that I learned to, under the amazing news director, Brooke Riley. None of the opportunities I had throughout my 3 years in Q30 would be possible if I didn't spend hours upon hours in the suite, asking hundreds of questions and creating content that I can look back on and be proud of. I'm proud to see the news department grow more and more, and I'm happy to have been a small fraction of it. And for the last time, make sure to follow us on Q30 News on Twitter, and make sure to keep up with our latest content at q30tv.com. For myself, the best producer and co-host I know, Hepzibah Rajan, and everyone behind the scenes that helped create some of the best content this semester.
Good night, Bobcats.
Coming up,